Hello, everyone. This is Bill Apter, and I just finished taping an episode of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler, or Tyler and Mike. They're brilliant hosts. You've got to listen, you've got to see. Count It Out. Yeah, I endorse it. They've got the After Chat seal of approval.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is David Penzer, former WCW and Impact ring announcer, and you are listening to Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
Well, we are live, pals. Welcome to another edition of the Bill Apter Sealed of Approved. Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. I am Tyler. I am joined by Sleeping Beauty over here. The man who might have had too many mojitos, I guess, or he's just having too much fun. Mojito Mike, wake the fuck up. Am I boring you?
No, it's not your week for Showtime.
Oh, wow. Wow. I see how it's going to be. I see how it's going to be.
I'm sorry. I am very tired. It's been a week. Man, the longest 5 days of my life. Just a lot going on, both personally and then the work shit. And then I took a quote unquote relaxing weekend with my family in Niagara Falls that was not relaxing. So yeah, I'm fucking tired, but I'm still pumped. I'm good to go. I'm excited to do the show today because we're gonna talk some cool stuff. We're gonna talk some Survivor Series today.
Yeah.
Not only with my hypothetical situation that I got in store today, but of course your list, which I'm looking forward to.
Top 7 debuts to happen at the Survivor Series.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And we got a few notes to talk about today. So yeah, let's get into some wrestling, because I'm going to be honest with you, man. Wrestling's been wrestling has not been my priority the last few weeks, and I'm a little disappointed by that, because wrestling, there's a lot this week. GCW had 3 great shows, and I didn't even get to catch them all. I have them all. I'm ready to keep going through them. I haven't watched them all though, unfortunately. So hopefully I'll be caught up on them so I can talk about them next week. AEW had what I'm hearing is a stellar pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. I watched most of it actually.
We'll get your review on it in a second. But what I heard about it has been good. Hangman, I guess we don't have to worry about spoilers at this point. Hangman Page walks away with the championship, which I'm happy about. Jay Lethal makes his debut. Good for him.
Yeah, you're not happy about that, eh?
I just said good for him.
I know, but I know you're upset that he's not going to be at Final Battle. He put that out there today.
Yeah, I'm upset about that.
I'm
not upset he signed with AEW. Dude's got to eat. Dude's got to have a job. But don't give me this bullshit, because when I told you that's bullshit and there's no such thing as fucking loyalty anymore, there's only one show left and it's a couple of weeks. There's no way he couldn't show up. And you're like, oh, well, the guy needs to have a job. Fuck you if you think that Tony Khan's not going to let him go to Final Battle. That's bullshit, and you know it.
Maybe he doesn't want to go to Final Battle.
That's my problem.
Maybe he's upset that they released him.
And, okay, who released him? The fans? The fans that have fucking been loyal to him for the last how many years? That's who he owes this to. Not to Sinclair. Fuck Sinclair. He owes it to the people that he's fucking over now with this Final Battle pay-per-view.
Maybe Tony Khan doesn't want him to go, maybe.
I don't believe that. I don't believe. If Jay said to him, hey, I'd love to sign with you, but I still got one more show, no fucking way is Tony Khan going to say, no, don't do that. With his track record of letting all these dudes do fucking other gigs, no fucking way is he not let Jay Lethal going to Final Battle. Especially knowing that it's not like it's competition to him. ROH is not competition to AEW at this point in the game, nor will it be. So I don't believe that for 1 second.
I'm fine with Jay not being there. He's he's done
Of
it
course you
all.
are. You don't watch it. You're not a fan like I am.
Well, I am a fan of Jay Lethal, and the reason why I'm fine with it is because Jay Lethal probably had one of the biggest moments of his career coming out to AEW. The reaction that he got that's the biggest audience that he's been in front of. Let's be real here, and the respect that fan base showed him, I'd be putting all my energy towards that right now as well.
Sure.
Why risk the injury?
We're not gonna agree because we're talking about him leaving the company that I love and going to the company that you love. So of course you're gonna be all jerking.
I love Ring of Honor too. I don't watch it as much.
It
doesn't mean that I don't love it and want them to succeed though. But well, let's keep on Ring of Honor for a second. Did you see any of the news coming out of the show on the weekend?
Unfortunately, again, like I said, there's been a ton of wrestling on the weekend.
Yeah,
I didn't get to watch this one.
No, did you read it?
I did get some shit spoiled for me.
Do you want me to say anything or not say anything?
Go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah, because I don't know when I'm going to be able to sit down and watch it.
How about I foreshadow then? Do you know who the number one contender is going into Final Battle?
No. So like I said, go ahead. Just spoil it for me. I really don't care.
Well, it's your boy. You're wearing a shirt right now.
All right, that makes me happy.
He's getting the world title shot at Final Battle. He beat Brody King at their last show, which I think is the right move. I think Gresham is the guy that should be in there. Lethal's had his time. I'm fine with, obviously I think it would have been great if Lethal was the last Ring of Honor world champion.
If it's not going to be Lethal,
it should be Gresham.
I would be very happy with being Gresham. Again, I think we said this last week, nothing against Bandito whatsoever. But I don't want to be closing a chapter on with Bandito being the last champion. I'm sorry, I just don't.
What I like about Gresham instead of Lethal in that spot as well is that it leaves the door open for if Ring of Honor does come back, that they'll have a champion that's not signed with another company, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got Bandito and Gresham. They're not signed anywhere. They're gonna be able to still do the shot. Well, not yet, at least, right?
I wouldn't have been mad if Brody King came out on top on here. I mean, I like Brody King. I think Brody King represents ROH in a big way. So I would have been very proud to being like, okay, Brody King as the last champion. I wouldn't be mad. Jonathan Gresham as the last champion. That's something I'm goddamn proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's phenomenal. I'm very happy about that.
How about the tag team
champions? See the rest of the show. Don't spoil that match for me.
Okay. I won't spoil anything.
I'm looking for. My prediction is I don't expect the Briscoes to drop the titles yet, even though
not the GCW tag title match, the Ring of Honor tag title match.
The Ring of Honor taking championships. I did see the spoiler on that, and I'm very proud of the OGK, man. That's awesome for them to most likely. They'll probably hold on to it till the end. And good for them. Nothing against Kenny King and who was it, Dragon Lee?
Yeah, I think so.
I love me some Kenny King. I was actually saying to my wife today, because my wife's a big Bachelor fan, and Kenny King was on The Bachelorette a couple years ago, and I'm like, well, Kenny King's out of a job again. But I'm very proud of them. They again represent ROH in a big way, but to see the OGK come out like that, I love Mike Bennett, love Matt Taven. Both of them were a big part of the story of ROH in the last year, like post-COVID. On the very first post-COVID show, Taven made his big debut back, and then not long thereafter, Bennett came back with a fire under his ass because he just got let go by WWE, and they really upped their game in ROH. They really did. Mike Bennett has worked in every major company, right? As far as I know, except for AEW. But other than AEW, Mike Bennett's worked everywhere. Mike Bennett works the best in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. He had a great run in Impact Wrestling too.
He did. Don't get me wrong. He did. And he could have, if allowed, would have had a great run in WWE.
Absolutely.
And he did some great stuff in New Japan, did some great stuff all over the world. But he does his best work in Ring of Honor. He loves Ring of Honor. You can tell he loves Ring of Honor.
Yeah, you can see that passion for sure. And last little point about Ring of Honor here. As of recording this, we're recording on a Monday night like we always do. Happy birthday, Carrie Silken, friend of the show.
Our boy.
Love me some Kerry. You got a couple things you said you want to talk about this week before we get into your hypothetical. What do you got on your mind?
Well, talking about wrestlers that we respect, I just want to throw it out to Jordan Grace. Unfortunately, I forgot my notes that were in front of me, so I forgot the name of the promotion, but is the heavyweight lifting promotion in the world. Just recognized, didn't just recognize. She won the competition this weekend.
Good for her.
But she is now recognized as number one, the top female lifter in the world.
Wow.
Nobody.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody, no female in the world is better than Jordan Grace right now. And she lifted a total of 905 pounds. Like,
is that it?
And if you,
that's my warm up.
and if you see her, man, she's in the best shape of her life.
Oh yeah.
She looks amazing. She is doing amazing things, not only in the professional wrestling world, but in the bodybuilding world, and good for her. Not bodybuilding, powerlifting. I think that's two very separate things.
Yes, it is.
But good for her. I'm so proud to see her succeed in something that she really, really puts her heart into. You know, her and we did that show on couples last February. And, you know, I know we were doing kayfabe couples, but if we were to do real life couples, man, her and Gresham were the biggest power couple in the world.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Those two together, nobody can stop those motherfuckers. There's so much heart in that relationship.
Like how much did she lift?
905, I believe.
Wow. If I wanted to do that, it would take me 20 separate attempts to like put that all together. You know, divide that up by 20. I might be able to do it in 20 tries. That's awesome.
She's amazing. She's been one of my favorites for years. I talk about her on a regular basis. I might even talk about her yesterday.
Yeah, you might have already talked about her yesterday. It's gonna be a first ever for Showtime and Mike and Tyler this week too. It's gonna be the first time I'm not drunk on the show.
It's true.
We're going to talk about Survivor Series in a minute. Before we get into the list, you've got a hypothetical. Just real quick, I want to touch on the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view on Saturday. I watched a little bit of it. I watched most of it.
Cowboy shit. Cowboy shit.
I don't know how
I didn't watch the pay-per-view. I'm going to watch this pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'd recommend a few matches for sure. I have to go back. I missed the opener between Darby and MJF, which is just getting rave reviews from everybody. They said they stole the show.
I'll skip that.
I wasn't really interested in it, but I'm hearing just fantastic things about it. So
I don't like either's work. I do think MJF is funny. I just don't think he's a great wrestler. I don't.
See, I'm with you, but that's why I want to watch this match, because I want to see if I'm missing something. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go and watch this one and see if he can change my opinion on him.
And I think Darby's extremely overrated.
Yeah, I'm like Darby's style is different than what I'm. You know, Darby's not a guy that I'm drawn to, but man, he's got a connection that's real special with the audience, and apparently he was real over.
Something, yeah,
absolutely. Eddie Kingston and CM Punk, I did watch. I thought it was very good. They were just beating the hell out of each other. Kingston is really starting to win me over as a worker right now, and I've never been a big Eddie Kingston guy, but his work the last 2 months. Basically, ever since him and Moxley started teaming up, I guess, has just been spectacular. I really enjoyed it, and especially the last month or two, he's been having some great in-ring matches. Now, you know, he's in there with guys like Punk and with Dragon and you know, whatever, it's the top tier guys, but he's pulling his weight in there with those guys. Him and Dragon had a hell of a match a few weeks ago. Who is also the new number one contender. Dragon won, he beat Miro, which is good. I'm happy about that. But yeah, Eddie Kingston held his own. The promo stuff's been great with him. He's a little banged up after the event. Punk got color. Punk was all in. I like the build they had with these guys, where basically Kingston was just telling Punk that you've been a dick your whole life. You know, I know that you and you know, I know that you talk shit about me in the dressing rooms. You know, to guys like Joe and Homicide, and he was mentioning all these names and Cabana and whatever. And Punk came back and goes, just to let you know, I wasn't the only one talking shit about you. They all didn't respect you. Like they had a great build. I thought the match delivered. Punk went over, which I still think is the right thing to do. I like the little slow build they're doing with him, building his way up to bigger competitors every time. Brian Danielson, I think, is the right choice to be the number one contender right now, coming after, guess it'll be Hangman Page now. I would have liked to have seen.
Did they just throw that whole thing out the window though?
What's
Wasn't
that?
it supposed to be based on a point system and
Yeah, they've kind of gone loosey goosey on the rankings.
Yeah,
which every wrestling promotion that's ever tried to do it happens. I don't know why people try to do it. It's not a good idea.
I like that system. I do. I have seen it work. Unfortunately, the only times I've seen it work were in indie leagues that nothing else worked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I just think
why can those shitty leagues make it work, but these guys with money can't? It's weird.
I do like that they keep like their win-loss records at the bottom. I like that. And I like that they keep tally on that. But I don't like this ranking system because it's meaningless. And I'll go back to when Britt Baker was number one contender, coming off a loss to Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
Like it's a work. I
get it to work, but you can make it believable. That's
what I was gonna say is because it's a work, they're not following it because they're just gonna book whatever they want. You know what I mean?
That's what pisses me off. Yeah. There's no one saying working yourself into a shoot. Sometimes maybe you can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But anyways.
And then main event, Kenny Omega, who is banged up. His shoulder is really bad. He can't lift even with it. I was reading today. He's had a bad cases of vertigo for the last couple of years as well, which I didn't know about. He finally put Hangman Page over, long overdue, as people would say.
Yep.
Here's my take on this. I'm no problem with Hangman being the world champion. I think that he's the most deserving. It's the right move. 100% it is. And Kenny should be losing to Hangman. I would have liked to have seen it one more match, though. I would have liked to have seen Kenny bullshit his way through a win.
Well,
and have Hangman. I just want to see the program continue.
Okay, but if Kenny's in as bad a shape as you're saying he is,
that's why I get it.
This may have been written the way it is for a reason.
Yeah, and Hangman's so over. I think that it would have been better. I wish that Hangman didn't take time off. I know he had to for his family, and I respect that. I just think the timing of the last pay-per-view, he was hotter than he is now. Yeah. But hey, you know what? I'm really excited to see what he does with the title. You're going to get him and Dragon right off the bat, which is going to be amazing. Mm-hmm. So, I'm all in. I love Hangman Page. Get that cowboy shit going, man.
I won't lie to you. I'm going to be fucking pissed if Cowboys are one and done.
Yeah, unless they have a story to go behind it. I don't want him to be a one and done either. But we'll see. I can't see Dragon becoming the champion, but I mean, he'd be a great champion nonetheless, but I think it would be a mistake.
It'd be a waste.
I think it would hurt Hangman,
And Dragon doesn't need it. And history proves when you put too much on Dragon, the fans turn on him.
Which would be great. Could you imagine him as a heel in AEW? God, I'm just getting flashbacks to 06 Ring of Honor.
I don't think he needs to be a heel right there, right now.
No, I agree. It's not the right time. I hope that. I wonder if the fans are going to turn on Hangman because that's like a thing. You know what I mean? I can't see it. I don't know. Whatever. Fuck AEW fans. They're the worst. So are WWE fans. All fans are the worst. You guys all suck. Everyone listening to this, you all suck.
Fans. Yeah.
Except for our listeners. What is it? The Counted Out crew is the best. All you cocks out there.
Yeah, they're cocks, all right.
Okay, so you've got a hypothetical this week. Did you know Survivor Series is on this week? By the way, I had no idea.
And that's what sparked my hypothetical, because you texted me, you're like, "Do you know that Survivor Series was this weekend?" I'm like, "No."
This is the worst built pay-per-view of all time.
Well, and there we go. But here's the thing, and I complained about this earlier in the year. I said, "Yeah, I'm not sure I care about SummerSlam that much," and that hurt me because I always care about the Big Four. And then I started thinking, I'm like, I definitely don't care about Survivor Series this year. I mean, holy fuck! They announced the teams on fucking Twitter.
Yeah,
like
no build at all, and now they're still shimmying. So, they changed the teams again tonight on Raw.
So here's my thing. I started thinking back. Not only do I not give a fuck about Survivor Series, I have to admit it. I don't think I've really been excited about Survivor Series in several years. So here's what I want to briefly talk about today. is it time to hang it up, or can we salvage the Survivor Series? Like, are we hanging on to this thing because it's been going on for 34 years? Are we hanging on this thing because it's tradition? It's not even the Thanksgiving tradition anymore. It's just a tradition. It's part of the big force. We don't let go of it. Like, is that the only reason we're hanging on, or is it salvageable? Do we let this thing die, or can we save it? And how do we save it? I already know one thing you're going to say, so I'm going to beat you to the punch. We got to stop this Raw versus SmackDown bullshit.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. That needs to go. That story is old, passe, done. Fucking stop it.
Well, it's because you don't even know who's on what brand anymore.
Yeah. Other than that, how do we save Survivor Series?
Okay. I think that you can still keep Survivor Series because there's still going to be a pay-per-view there no matter what. So you keep the name because it's got the history to it. You might get the nostalgia, Survivor Series. Yeah, let's check it out. I think it's safe to say Survivor Series hasn't felt like a Big Four pay-per-view in about 15 years. Yeah. They really dropped the ball. I like what they were doing around 05 or 6 or 7. I don't know, whatever the year was when DX teamed up with the Hardys and CM Punk. I like how they would have Survivor Series. 05, yeah, somewhere between 05 and 07. I like how they would do Survivor Series matches that would incorporate all the brands teaming together instead of fighting each other.
Yeah.
So I think you can do that, but I think it just comes down to storytelling.
Thank you. And that's where I was going to go with this. Yes.
I used to love back in the day when you would see, the Big Boss Man captaining a team with Bad News Brown, the Honky Tonk Man, and Rick Martel, and they would be cutting promos together every week. There'd be can Bad News Brown coexist with people? Like there's a way to tell these stories, but and I don't want to WWE bash because it's like the common thing to do, but I just haven't been impressed with their storytelling lately. I'm
always good for calling a spade and giving credit where credit's due. And I usually give credit for their pay-per-views because as much as I can't stomach their weekly television product, I usually like their pay-per-views.
Well, yeah, take a look at the last few, right? Money in the Bank was a home run. SummerSlam was a home run. Saudi was a home run.
The only reason I can't get through them is because the Dunn's god awful fucking camera.
Fucking seasick, man.
If it wasn't for that, the actual booking and the actual storytelling is really fucking, and the in-ring work is really fucking good. However, you need build. You need to go in with a story. You can't rely on pay-per-views alone.
No, unless it's WrestleMania. WrestleMania and Royal Rumble are the only two pay-per-views you can do that with. They will sell out no matter what.
But even that, I want a fucking story. I want a build. I want to be invested.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. I think
I'm not invested whatsoever in this fucking Survivor Series, nor have I been for years because it's always the same story they fucking tell. I want to go back, and just like you said, I want to go back to, here's what I want to do. Not like the late 80s, early 90s where it was all Survivor Series matches, but like the late 90s where you had 2 Survivor Series matches, a couple singles matches, a tag match, a Survivor Series match, and you close with the Survivor Series match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah, I like that
shit. Here's what I want to do okay, here's a couple teams we just threw together and see if they can coexist. A bunch of heels and a bunch of faces. Fine. Open the shit with that, blah, blah, blah. Build it all to the main event, where the main event is that big story. Your Eric Bischoff versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they had to create these teams. You know what I mean? That's build it all to this big story at the end. But then have your other teams be like, hey, I'm Captain so-and-so, and I handpicked these wrestlers behind me to come and do this thing. I want the Hearts versus, HBK and the Kings again.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit I want.
Well, and you know what, though? And even if they are going to stick with this Raw versus SmackDown format, how about you establish 2 different brands? You know what I mean? Like the one a few years ago in LA, the one that had Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey on it, had a great build to it. Because, SmackDown was separate from Raw for a while. and they came over and beat the shit out of everybody on Raw. Becky had the bloody face. Like, I was pumped up for that Survivor Series. It was really good.
Yep.
Make the brand feel different. From an in-ring standpoint, it's going to be a great pay-per-view. I don't even know who's on the Survivor Series team right now. I think Bobby Lashley. They added Austin Theory on this week. I don't know who the other people are, but all the matches are going to be awesome. You're going to get Shinsuke Nakamura against Damian Priest, which is going to be great. You're going to get Big E and Roman, which is going to be great. You're going to get the RK Bro versus who the fuck are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions? I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you.
Biggie and Roman I like, but I gotta say I'm intrigued by the idea that I'm hearing now because I haven't watched of apparently Kevin Owens turned heel on Big E.
Yeah,
and I'm
like
the
Usos are the tag champs.
I don't know if he's going to get involved in this match with Roman or not, but
that's the thing. It should be Kevin. It should be Kevin Owens against Big E. That's what they built towards. Like, I don't know. It's just a cold pay-per-view. You know what I mean?
I almost didn't mind this when they used to do the what was it, Night of Champions? Because at least that pay-per-view kind of made sense. But then they just took Night of Champions idea format, had it butt fuck the Survivor Series format, and then they had a weird friggin' redneck kid, and that's what we get now. I say in the next 2 years, if they can't figure it out, I hate to say it, but let it die.
I mean, I would keep the name.
Do something new.
I would keep the name because if not, like right now, this pay-per-view doesn't feel any different than Great Balls of Fire or whatever.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Here's what I propose. Keep the name Survivor Series, but completely reformat it. No more Survivor Series the way we know it. You want a Survivor? Let's have a solo Survivor every year. Let's do a full one night tournament every year on Survivor Series.
Yeah, I love tournaments.
And then the winner, the way they used to do with the King of the Ring, where like way back in the day when the full tournament was in one night, have the tournament, and then your claim to fame at the end of the night, your title is you are the 2000 and whatever solo survivor or soul survivor.
Yeah.
Sign
me up for tournaments, man. I love Survivor Series 98's tournament. I know a lot of people shit on it. I thought it was really well booked.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do you think, man? You want to hear my Survivor Series list? Take you back to happier times on the pay-per-view?
Well, that's it. If we're going to talk about Survivor Series, I want to talk about some good Survivor Series. So I know you got some good shit.
Yeah, I've got a couple here that I don't know how you're going to feel about it. I think I got a couple that you're going to be like, huh, that's pretty smart. And yeah, so we're doing top 7 Survivor Series debuts. I'm going to go right ahead and say that I did not put Scott Steiner on this list because it's not a debut. He was in the company already. He didn't come back with a different name. Like,
well, here's the thing, and I'm fine with that. If that was your criteria, that's your criteria. I'm down with it. However, if you would have put him on the list, I wouldn't have been mad at you. Here's the thing. Everybody has worked. Like, there's so many people who have worked that you even forget who has worked, and then they come back and it's a debut, or they debut as a different character. Mm-hmm. I find the Big Papa Pump character to be very, very different than the All-American Tag Team Champion character.
Yeah, they are different.
You know what I mean? So when he came back, yes, it was a return, but they didn't treat it like a return. They didn't treat it like Scott Steiner is back in the WWE. No, they treated it as WCW Scott Steiner has debuted in WWE.
Yeah, but they still mentioned his history and like being a former tag team champion and stuff. Of course. Like, to me, it just reminds me of like Superstar Billy Graham. Right. Superstar Billy Graham used to have long blonde hair and be a big muscle guy, and then he got hurt, and then he came back and he had the Scott Steiner coat. You know what I mean? It's the same shit.
You know what? I'm going to give this to you because you're right, because I don't count Hollywood Hogan coming in as a debut. I count that as a return. So
it is a return to the company. As far as I know, this is the debut, at least from an in-ring standpoint as well, of every single person on this list with the WWE.
Okay.
You might be able to fight me on my number 6, but I'm gonna say fuck it. But
Sure.
let's start with my number 7, man. My number 7, I am taking, and my criteria for this list also.
Yeah.
This is not going to be the lasting impression of the debuts. It's going to be what I felt was the effectiveness of the debut, how they were presented in their debut. Because if you're gonna,
so the actual debut,
the
no
actual debut
happened
itself,
afterwards. So it doesn't matter what happened the day after or the next 10 years.
Yeah.
It's how they handled the actual debut. Okay,
yeah,
good.
Because if you're doing how it was the next 10 years, then Rock is number 1, Taker, you know what I mean? Like it's too easy, you know? So I'm going with just the actual moment itself. And that's why my number 7 is this instead of another option, which I'll tell you in the honorable mentions. My number 7, we're going to 1996. Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Doug Furnas and Philip Lafont.
Okay. I am so with you right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've always been a massive fan of Furnas and Lafont.
Me too.
I love them. I think they were a great team. I think they're both great, very underrated wrestlers. I forgot that they debuted on that pay-per-view. So you got me, dude. I'm with you on this one.
Man,
remind me of that night though.
So they teamed up with the Godwins to face Owen Hart and the Bulldog and the New Rockers. And they put these guys over strong. They both survived the match. They pinned the tag team champions in it. Marty Jannetty got hurt in the match halfway through, which kind of hurt a little bit. But these guys were hitting huge moves the whole matches, big suplexes, a top rope reverse suplex on Leaf Cassidy. Like, this was just a great way to debut a tag team.
Absolutely.
And if we were doing the aftermath of it, these guys would not make my list at all because they did absolutely nothing with these guys after.
Yeah.
And it's too bad because these guys are ass kicking machine. Go watch their All Japan Pro Wrestling stuff if you don't know anything about them. Them and the Bulldogs rip it down all the time. They had a great series of matches in there. Number 7, Doug Furnas and Phil Lafont.
I gotta tell you a really quick, really a story that always makes me smile about Doug Furnas. It's a sad story, but it still makes me smile because it's funny. The day that Doug Furnas passed away, I got a text from my buddy Ray, hopefully a listener of the show, and he had texted me saying that Doug Furnas had died. Thing is, Ray and I have a buddy named Doug, and his text message autocorrected to say Doug's Furnas died. So I'm sitting here going, Doug's Furnas died. Fuck, I don't care.
Oh shit!
I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know anything about fixing furnaces. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, why are you telling me this? He's like, oh, I thought you were a big fan. Like, I thought you were a big fan. I thought you'd care. I'm like, I really don't, like, no offense. I don't want that to sound like an asshole, but I don't care. I'm like, what do you mean? You thought I was a fan of who, Doug? He's like, yeah, I thought you really liked him. I'm just like, why? Like I like Doug, but not like he's not my best friend. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So finally he calls me and he says, you know what I'm talking about, like Furnas and Lafont. I'm like, what? Doug Furnas died. I'm like, oh shit.
That's actually really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll give a shout out to our friends over at Cafe de Rene Dupree, and our friend James's podcast. They just had Phil Lafont on it a couple weeks ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah, I'm about a week behind on all my podcasts, so I'm getting there, James. Love you, buddy. Number 6. Now here's where I think a lot of people are going to kind of be controversial towards me, but again, I'm not looking at the legacy that is left behind after these debuts. I'm looking at the moments themselves, and I'm taking us to the debut of the 3 I's: intensity, integrity, and intelligence. We're talking about Kurt Angle.
Why wouldn't this be on your list? Why is this?
I think people would think that it should be like maybe in the top 3 or 4 because it's Kurt Angle.
I I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and wait to hear what your next 5 are.
Yeah.
Before I make that decision. I personally feel that I would probably put it in my number 3 spot.
Okay.
But I don't know the rest of your list. I'm gonna let's return to this later. Tell me about it now, but let's return to it later and I'll tell you whether or not I think it's in the right spot. I'm not ready to say you're wrong yet.
Mm-hmm. So the reason why too is I don't know if you would count this as his real debut or not, because I know he did something on Sunday Night Heat.
I don't count that.
Yeah, so this was the build-up. They did all the vignettes, which I thought were fantastic. You know,
Yeah.
I'm an Olympic gold medalist, blah, 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 blah. And I love the backstory behind his debut with him and Vince McMahon, where Vince is like, you're going to be the biggest heel that we have. And Kurt's like, Vince, nobody is going to boo me. I'm an Olympic gold medalist. Like, and he's like, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. And he didn't get it. And then, you know, in the middle of the match, when he grabbed that microphone and was like, I am your hero. And they just booed him out of the building. He had that oh shit moment, right? But you know,
the 3 eyes were so ingenious.
Yeah, I love this Kurt Angle character. It's my favorite Kurt Angle.
Oh, absolutely. I love the 3 eyes so much. And then, you know, later on, even the stuff he did when he brought his brother Eric in, and you know, I love that part of Kurt Angle.
Yeah, I agree. You know, and the match was great. It was a good match, but you know, the match it wasn't like a 5-star classic or anything like that. It was a good match. It showcased Kurt Angle. It's a perfect debut, and it gets my number 6 spot because of it.
Good enough.
All right, let's move on to number 5 here. We're going back to Madison Square Garden. We're going to the year 2002. It is not Scott Steiner. I did say he would not be on the list. It is the debut of the Elimination Chamber.
All right, you swerved me. I love it. I love this match.
This is a great match with Shawn Michaels' altar boy haircut and brown pants.
I love Shawn's poopy pants.
Yeah, the poopy pants and the weird haircut he had.
The bomb haircut.
But take a look at the talent in this match. Right?
I love this match.
Yeah.
This is, man, if we did, and we will do a top 7 Elimination Chamber match list one day, it'll be difficult, but it'll be difficult not to put this number 1 just.
It would be in my top 2. It wouldn't be my number 1. They're hands down to me the best elimination match of all time is that New Year's resolution.
You piece of shit.
Sorry,
okay,
but I've said this on our show before. Well, I've said this on our show before.
Okay. It's definitely in my top 3, if not my number 1. I love this match.
Me too.
All right, go for it, man.
Well, you know, and I'm gonna be a hypocrite for a second here. Like, I'm not counting this as to why this is on my list, but just the match that these guys delivered made this to be a staple in the WWE to this day. And that couldn't have happened without the build that the Chamber had, the respect that the talent showed it, right? So it didn't affect where my ranking was on.
If the first one isn't a success, you don't get many more, right? Unless it's a Punjabi prison match.
Yeah.
But listen, usually when you have a great match, the first one that sometimes happens in October of 1997 is the greatest match of all time.
You bastard, Anthony.
If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go back 2 weeks and you'll know.
Yeah, or check out the Classic Match Classroom when we talk about Hell in a Cell, Undertaker versus either way, different show, different time. I love the way that they presented the Elimination Chamber. They did those like little vignettes of, 1 million feet of chain, you know what I mean? 2 tons of steel. Like,
I love those vignettes.
But I love that they never showed what the chamber looked like until they lowered it.
Exactly.
Which
and they had the lights and the
visual standpoint of it. It looks fantastic. You know that hurts, which it sucks for the talent, but
here's the thing too. I'm all for. I'm not one of those guys going, "Oh, I fucking hate the chamber now because they changed the flooring and it's safer now." Oh, fuck safety. I'm not like that. But again, call a spade. Call the truth the truth. It looks so much better before that. Oh yeah,
1,000,000%. Chamber, and if you debuted the chamber that they use now, back then, I don't think people would have taken it as serious because those loud, great noises and those chains really, really added to the credibility of the chamber.
Same thing can be said about Hell in a Cell. You debut that red fucking milk crate of a Hell in a Cell, like it's not getting over.
No, absolutely not. The build was great. The match was a home run. The talent involved in it. You got RVD, Booker T, Kane, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho. Like, that's a who's who. They're all Hall of Famers. You know what I mean? Like, great match. Triple H gets his larynx broken in the match and still goes for like 30 minutes, which is crazy. Like, great match, great debut. And even though the lasting effect of it does not rank on my list, got to respect the fact that it's still going to this day.
And it's Shawn winning his one and only world championship since he comes back, wins. People forget about that too. His second run in WWE is quite possibly his greatest run in WWE.
Yeah.
He was only champion once.
Yep, for a month.
Yeah. It proves that Shawn Michaels did not need a strap to be the best in the world.
No, once he dropped his dickhead attitude and fart jokes from 1997, where DX was the worst thing on the planet. I don't care, Rob. I hear your messages. I don't care. 1997 DX sucks. It sucks it. See what I did there?
Yeah,
see that? Fired up now. Well, let's talk about a year before that now, 1996. Going back to Madison Square Garden, old Pineapple Head, talking about The Rock.
All right. I love the Elimination Chamber so much, I'd probably flip these, but okay.
I went back and forth on it. I really liked this debut. I thought they presented The Rock as a future star.
And a lot of people are probably groaning right now going, oh, but I hate The Rock. He might be a character. Sure. So did I. But I didn't that night.
Yeah, we're not talking about what they did with it after until he joined the Nation and became The Rock. We're talking about his debut.
That, JR put him over so fucking amazingly that night. He was the blue chipper. He was
Sunny too.
Yeah.
Sunny's talking about how hot he is, which she was the hottest thing in the world at that time period. I know that sounds silly to say, but her putting over him.
Downloaded woman on the planet. That woman got more clicks on AOL than Pamela Anderson did.
Yeah, and if Cindy Margolis.
And if you are a man in between the ages of 35 and 50, you know what the fuck I'm talking about.
1,000,000%. I love Sunny.
Oh my God.
What are we talking about? You mentioned Jim Ross. I love the line when Rock's making his entrance and he's like, that's going to be the man right there. Like, they really put him over. What a great match too.
I do want to punch whoever made his ring outfit in the dick. I do.
Yeah. That was a weird outfit.
It shows how good he was. He fucking overcame. He made his debut with that piece of shit and with that fucking haircut, and he overcame.
Well, and take a look at the talent in this match too, right? So you got Mero teaming up with The Rock, with Barry Windham, and with Jake the Snake Roberts, right? Was it 4? I think it was only 4 of them.
Yeah.
And they fought Jerry Lawler, Triple H, Crush, and Goldust.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of talent there. And, it came down to The Rock. Right there. The Rock at the end with Crush and Goldust, and he went over both of them. And they got his finish over, which was a lame shoulder breaker, but he got over with the crowd. When you walk out of Madison Square Garden as a baby face like that, and people are cheering you and chanting your name, that's a fucking win, man. That's a tough crowd in there. Now, they didn't cheer him when he came back, but
between Shawn Michaels and The Rock, do you think that it's fair to say that Survivor Series is the birthplace of the worst haircuts of all time?
Yeah, I would say it's up there for sure. I would say it's up there for sure. Except for when Edge came back with his beard. That was pretty sick.
Yeah.
Let's move on here. We're in the top 3 now. And the top 3 involved 3 men. I'm going to 2012 with The Shield.
Okay, yeah.
I thought this was a great debut. Especially
that could have been my 3.
Yeah, especially to take a bunch of guys that, unless you're watching NXT or you're a Ring of Honor fan or a fan of the Indies, you don't. Well, first of all, I don't think anybody knew who Roman Reigns was. Like, if you're not watching FCW,
I knew who Jon Moxley was.
I didn't. I knew who he was because of his buzz with the Foley feud.
And I wasn't a massive CZW fan at the time, but I knew CZW. Like, I watched some CZW mostly because of Danny. So I knew who Jon Moxley was. I obviously knew who Tyler Black was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I'd never heard of Roman Reigns in my life.
No. And what a way to debut these guys, right?
And you know, you're gonna laugh at me. And I think a lot of people are in my camp, they just won't admit it. At this point in time, I flat out said, give it time, Roman Reigns is going to be the biggest thing in this company.
Really, eh?
Yes, because by the next Survivor Series, isn't look what they did with him.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that, you know what I mean? Like he was like when he was in the Shield, and I'm not gonna lie, I joined the bandwagon as soon as the Shield broke up. I wasn't the Roman fan anymore. I didn't like what they were doing with him. I didn't like his character. It's not his fault. This is where the suffering and succotash shit started. And
yeah,
I fell off the bandwagon. But a lot of people won't admit that they said that he was the fucking future in the beginning. I guarantee a lot of people saw something big in him in the Shield. All three. I remember saying all three guys are going to be the future of this of this business. And how right was that?
You know, he almost wasn't in there, eh?
You've got Jon Moxley, arguably the hottest commodity in the world. Everybody wants him. You got Seth Rollins, who is going to be a WWE lifer and is going to be the biggest company man since Triple H. And I'm not saying that as an insult.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people shit on Seth, but I like people that stand up for their company and fire back.
He is the biggest company man since Triple H, and I mean that as a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Roman Reigns, who is the face of the company, no matter what people want to fucking say.
Yeah.
So,
one of the greatest factions of all time.
Absolutely.
Better than DX.
Absolutely.
Do you know that Roman almost didn't make the cut?
Oh yeah.
It was originally a lot of people were
Mark Jindrak.
Oh, yeah, he was in the vignettes. No, a lot of people were pushing for Chris Hero to get that spot over.
I remember reading that somewhere. Yeah,
over that, and I think Punk was one of those guys. But you have these guys debut in the main event of Survivor Series. I believe the match was Punk, Cena, and Ryback triple threat match. And this one, Ryback was really big too, right?
Yeah,
like Ryback was super over at this time period. They lay out Ryback and help Punk win the belt. I thought it was fantastic, and it worked. I like that they put them in that spotlight right away,
Absolutely.
And they were fresh faces.
They put them in the main event, like stories right in the beginning. Then they had them tell the great stories. Like Shield and the Wyatt family is one of my favorite stories ever told.
Yeah,
in the last 2 decades.
Great stuff they did.
Yeah.
All right,
man. Yeah. Let's see what your number 2 is, because I want to know. I probably would have put this as my number 2. So let's see what your number 2 is.
Number 2, going to 1990, The Undertaker.
Wow. Okay. I'm racking my brain what your number 1 could be. I'm intrigued. Okay.
We'll get there in a minute. I love this debut.
Goddamn right. This is one of the greatest debuts of all time, not just of Survivor Series, of all time.
Now, I know that this is my number 2, but I'm going to let you start talking about it because I know you want to talk about your boy here.
Listen, I don't want to take it away from The Undertaker. I don't. I want to give him his credit. I want to give credit to him. I want to give credit to Ted DiBiase. I want to give credit to Vince McMahon for the character. I want to give credit to the event. I do. But nobody deserves more credit for the success of this fucking debut than Roddy Piper. Roddy got that motherfucker over so big that night.
You don't look like he's having a very good time. I love that line. I'm with you, man.
Oh, man.
Roddy Piper was the MVP of The Undertaker's debut. Gorilla was also awesome putting over Taker.
People don't talk about Roddy's commentary work enough.
No, it's grossly underrated. It could get a little bit annoying at times, but I really enjoyed Piper's commentary work in the 90s.
And I know I'm biased because he is my favorite performer, not just wrestler, but my favorite performer of all time. So everything he did, he is one of my favorite color commentators of all time.
Yeah.
He can never be the best because Bobby Heenan existed. So,
yeah,
I'll never lie about that. But, I do think that Roddy had I think he's probably my favorite, no offense to the King, but he's my favorite wrestler turned commentator.
Uh,
And I know that's a heavy order. There's a lot of guys you can talk about. A lot of guys you can talk about.
yeah, I'd have to really think about that one.
I think most people will go for the King, but I'm going to go for Roddy.
A lot of people might give some love to the Macho Man there too. Macho and Piper were good together.
I think a lot of people might give some love to Jesse Ventura.
Oh yeah, I think Jesse would be my number one.
But for me, it's Roddy. I also say that Roddy
That'd be a fun list to do one day.
Roddy also had the best what's it called? Talk show segment.
Yeah, Piper's 100%.
You know, listen, I love me the funeral parlor. I love me the barbershop. You know, even Carlito's Cabana was good, and Y2J's whatever, Tron, whatever the fuck. There were some really great ones, but you'll never touch Piper's Pit.
Is it bad that the funeral parlor is my second favorite one of all time?
No, because it's mine.
I love the funeral parlor. It scared the shit out of me.
Not only was it so entertaining, but it had even more so than the Piper's Pit. It had the greatest moments.
Well, oh yeah, 100%, 100% it did.
You know,
and let's talk about.
We've got off topic here. Let's talk about the Undertaker.
Yeah, I love the way they present this mystery opponent. You know who and that was it. And Ted came out. Take a look at this matchup here. Ted DiBiase teaming with the Honky Tonk Man, Greg Valentine, and the Undertaker versus Dusty Rhodes, the Hart Foundation, and Coco Beware. Is it crazy that the Undertaker is the only person not in the WWE Hall of Fame in that match?
Right.
They put Taker over immediately, though. Obviously, the entrance, which we talked about in detail there. Then he gets in the ring, pins Coco Beware in about 4 seconds, like spikes him with the tombstone. And then I can't remember. I think Brett came in the ring and like punched him 3 times, and then Taker just turned and left. They didn't sell it at all. Dusty Rhodes put Taker over strong here. Taker pinned Dusty Rhodes, which was huge. They let him have a count out so he could save face and look strong in his debut.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the way that you put somebody over. And I also love the fact that the Undertaker thought that he was going to be the gobbledygooker.
That's one of my favorite stories. He told that story on the Austin podcast, last year, I guess. That is so funny to me.
And I love the story that.
And the thing is, he would have done it.
I was 100% he would have.
You know what I mean?
I love the story too. Like when he found out about being the Undertaker, Vince just called him. He's like, "Is this the Undertaker?"
Is this the Undertaker? He's fuck yeah, yeah, sure. I'll be your fucking Undertaker. Yeah, it's I said Seth Rollins is the biggest company man since Triple H. You might want to throw Taker's name in there.
Yeah, Taker might be the biggest company man of all time.
And again, compliment.
Yeah.
I'm talking about company pride. I'm not talking about kiss acid.
Well, you're kind of giving me a segue into my number one.
I am. Okay, guys, let's rip the Band-Aid off. I have no idea where you're going.
Well, if the Undertaker is the biggest company man in WWF history, the man was the biggest company
oh my God,
supporter in WCW history.
I don't think this is
Sting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. No, I know it's Sting. And I was trying to think in my head whether or not this deserves to be your number one. But you know what? You're goddamn right it is. Because here's the thing. Nobody fucking saw it coming. If they would have vignetted it and teased it and shit, I'd say it would have to drop a couple. But the fact that you're sitting there watching, I remember sitting there watching that. And this is during my don't really care about Survivor Series anymore. And then fucking Sting shows up.
Did you know he was coming?
No.
So I saw on a dirt sheet that he might be debuting that night. I picked up my phone and ordered the WWE Network on the spot. I didn't have it at this point. I ordered it and I was like, I'm watching this.
Nope. I had no idea. I wasn't so into the dirt sheets at this point. I fell off the dirt sheets at this point. I just didn't fucking care enough at this point in time. And I wasn't watching every week and shit like that. But it was a big four, and I always watched the big four. So I ordered, and I also didn't have the WWE Network. I ordered Survivor Series on pay-per-view.
I mean, the main event alone was worth the money. That was a great
event. So I watched that pay-per-view, And then that ending comes and the lights go down and you hear the bird, and I'm like, no, fuck off. No. And then you see the man, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
What a moment. What a fucking moment.
First of all, I love this match. It's one of my favorite Survivor Series matches of all time. It might be the best booked and laid out Survivor Series match of all time. They went like 50 minutes. They made Dolph Ziggler a superstar in this match. I love that Sting came to right a wrong that was happening in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, when that crow hit and the lights went down and he walked out, goosebumps moment. The man that he's done everything in professional wrestling, been a world champion, the NWA, WCW, TNA, he's the biggest star that never came over. He is an icon. He's one of the most iconic performers in the history of the business, and he made his WWF debut.
Yeah.
And and just seeing him and Triple H face to face.
You say what you want about the WrestleMania match. I know a lot of people have a problem with that match. I don't care if you like it or didn't like it. That doesn't matter. The moment at Survivor Series of Triple H, who nobody aside from The Undertaker has bled that company for as long as Triple H did and as hard as Triple H did. Triple H, I mean, even if he wasn't married into the McMahon family, he'd still be as close to as a McMahon as you get.
100%.
Okay? So you have that man who is the WWE versus a man who had represented NWA and WCW for years. Not only that, you have the man representing the company that beat WCW face to face with the man who was on par with Goldberg and Hogan as the man during that era of the war. It was a special moment. It really was.
At the beginning of 1998, him and Steve Austin were the two most popular people in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close. And I would say that Sting, maybe, at least in 97 for sure, Sting was the most over person in professional wrestling.
Yeah, and the only person that ever toppled that was Goldberg.
Sorry, I meant to say 1997. Sting was the most over wrestling. I forgot that they had their terrible Starrcade match in 97. Sting was the most over thing in wrestling in 1997.
Yeah,
not even close. And here he is.
No, definitely.
Here he is. I thought the debut was great.
You're talking about single man, right?
I'm talking about anything in wrestling.
You're saying Sting was bigger than the NWO?
Yeah, he was more popular. I'm saying most over.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say no, because who was selling the fucking t-shirts, sir?
Oh yeah, the NWO was their big money maker, but Sting.
That's what I mean.
But for as far as fan reaction went, Sting was the most
fan
over.
Reaction, yeah, because
that's what I mean. Most over person.
Because once those fucking lights hit, of course you want to cheer for the good guy to go and do his shit. But at the end of the day, NWO was they were over because.
Yeah, I'm talking about a different kind of over with Sting though. I'm talking about like crowd reaction, popularity. Sure. Sting was the most Sting was the most popular person in professional wrestling. We'll go with that. Yes. I'll change my wording.
Yes. Don't tell Bret Hart this.
No. Well, Bret Hart was a heel in 97.
Yeah, but he still thinks he was the biggest hero in the world. So
well, I mean, maybe that one night in Calgary, that I'll put that pop against anybody. 97 Canadian Stampede. I'll put that pop against anybody's pop.
Dude, this is a big sad story. Did you read the story that came out today that Gerald Briscoe told on Something to Wrestle?
Which one?
Bret Hart?
No.
So apparently they were doing, it was the early 90s or mid 90s, and they're doing a show out in Kuwait, I think. It was during the Kuwait War.
Oh, is this where Brett said he couldn't job to take her in front of these people?
Yeah, he refused to job to take, and they're like, why? Like, we're in fucking Kuwait. He's like, there's too many fans. He's like, what are you talking about? There's fans in every... He's like, yeah, but see all those guys? Those are Canadian soldiers. I'm not losing in front of them. I'm like, fuck you.
I mean, a lot of people shit on Brett.
Don't justify that.
Listen, I'm not going to justify it because I think it's silly. I will just say that I do respect the fact that Bret Hart cared so much about
He did
preserving
not.
his character.
He was just an egomaniac.
I mean, everybody in this industry is. You have to be to succeed.
No, not to that degree. Anyways, that's a side story.
Yeah,
You are, sir, 100% right. I can't believe I didn't even think of this debut. Mostly because I was thinking of people making their wrestling debuts. So the two I didn't think of were this one and the Elimination Chamber. But I'm so happy you put them both on.
I think that this moment with Sting is in the top 10 Survivor Series moments of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
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 Probably top 5, but
top 5 for sure.
I do have
It's
a
a great
couple
moment.
honorable mentions. One that I really wanted to put on the list just because it was so fun. You got to say the Gobbledygooker.
Yeah.
Fun angle, great for the kids.
Yeah.
One that I thought was going to make my list, but it just was terrible, was Jazz's debut.
Okay.
She debuted in 2001 in a 6-woman match. They just
I remember it.
nothing great.
I don't even know why it's an honorable mention. Okay.
The last two I have, the debut of the casket match in the WWE, Undertaker versus Kamala at 92. I know there had been other casket matches in wrestling before, but it was the WWF
But
debut.
didn't they have a trial one on like some?
I mean, if they
Superstars or
did
something
have a
like that?
tryout one, no, not before this. This was the first
No.
one on any type of TV. If they did a tryout one, it would have been on a house show. So you Kurt Angle, Heat debut,
Okay.
same thing. And the
Sure.
last one I have is the debut of the Nation of Domination.
Yeah, man. I at first was gonna say that I was surprised this didn't make your list. However, after hearing your list, you couldn't.
Yeah, the debut was very
not-
lackluster. It was just a
your
lackluster
list is
debut.
perfect.
I think I nailed it.
I hate these words, but your list was perfect this week. I honestly don't know that I would change anything, except for maybe The Rock and the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I
I'd
went
probably
back and
flip them
forth. I
around.
went back and forth on that for sure.
Other than that, man, going back to the Kurt Angle thing, he's in the right spot. Number 6 is fine for him.
I think so too.
Yeah,
And if you want to talk lasting impression, then you move. I'd say Taker 1, Rock 2, Angle 3, Shield 4, Chamber 5.
Yeah.
Sting and Furnace in the Font would be 6 and 7.
Sting doesn't even make the list.
Yeah, you put the Gobbledygooker on over Sting. I would honestly, I would have the Gobbledygooker on my list over Furnace in the Font.
But now Nation Domination make the list.
Yeah,
And-
Nation.
and-
Yeah, they
and-
might
and
bump the
for- and-
Gooker.
And well, they bumped Furnace in the Fun.
Yeah, but the Gooker, I might put the Gooker in that spot instead. Everyone still talks about the Gobbledygooker to this day,
It's
man.
true, they do, 100%.
Well,
I
that's
love me
it.
some Hector Guerrero, man.
That's all I got for my list, man. Survivor Series this Saturday. Hopefully, from an interview, like we said, it'll be good. Check it out. They always deliver on pay-per-view. Just get your barf bag ready for the camera work.
Now, I'll let you be the judge on this. I thought we had another week till Survivor Series. I think a fucking pen blew up on me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. I thought we had another week until Survivor Series. I was wrong. So my Survivor Series list, I was preparing for next week. I'm going to be late on it after the pay-per-view. What do you think? Do I save that list for next year? or
Yeah,
do
because
go for it?
you do the list. You do it. I think you should do
Yeah.
a Survivor Series list this week. I have a great hypothetical for next week that I think will be fun. Actually, no, I'm going to change it because I want to do that for a list one day. But yeah, I want to, because then we can talk about what happened at the Survivor Series. That's your Booker pen for Showtime Wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was.
Mr. Booker, man. Yeah, I want you to do your list. Top 7 opening
Okay.
matches in Survivor Series history is what you're doing,
Yeah,
right?
That's what I'm
You
doing,
put
yeah.
some work in on it. It's a fun list idea. I love it. I want you to run with it because I want to hear your take, and it gives an excuse to talk about Survivor Series.
Very good. Cool. I'm down.
And then
right,
we got our next couple lists planned out after that, and we're getting to the year end. We're doing it again, 2-parters, top 7 moments of the year. That's going to be your turn to do it this year, Mike. We're going to have 7 different guests on. Hopefully, we're working on it. I love the year end show. It's one of my favorites.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it as well. We're going to start working on it now.
Yeah, but we got time to get there. So in the meantime, check out www.countout7.com.
Mhm.
By the time this airs, I'm hoping we're gonna have just hit 200 subscribers on YouTube. Let's go!
Let's go. I want that tripled in by the end of in a year from now.
Yeah, I think we're on some good stuff. You know, the new
Yeah.
year is coming. We're gonna probably start looking to bringing guests back on the show, interviews in the new year once our
Mhm.
schedules lighten up a little bit. They've been pretty hectic. So,
Yeah.
you know, thank you everyone for just sticking around on the ride. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying what we're doing. And if you're not, fuck off. No, don't. We need you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, I was
Please
gonna
come
say,
back.
If you don't, Tyler definitely doesn't have 2 words for you.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And on behalf of those ham hocks, we've been counted out.
Cheers.